Okay, so this week we're going to do a little mini unit over ballistics. So we're just going to spend a week on it. The notes we're going to kind of run through fairly quickly, just a couple activities over it. So ballistics is all about weapons, as you can see here, mostly about guns. But there isn't that much I can do with this unit, being that I obviously can't actually let y'all look at guns inside of school. So we kind of just get to the teaks of what we have to cover with it, talk about it, and move on. So ballistics refers to the scientific analysis of firearms, bullets, and the travel of projectiles in flight. So kind of like calculating where the shooter was standing based on how the bullet hit. So ballistic experts help to interpret evidence and establish facts during a shooter-related crimes. Ballistic experts determine what type of firearm, so what kind of gun was used, what kind of caliber, how many bullets were used, where was the shooter standing based on the position of the angle the bullet entered either the victim or entered like a wall that missed their target, and whether the weapon had been used in previous criminal cases, so linking to other cases. So a lot can go into it, and a lot of it towards the end of the unit, like calculating the trajectory and how tall the shooter was, or how are they sitting, were they standing, how far from it. Sorry, all that is math. So we'll get through it as painlessly as possible, but it is math. Is kind of what a lot of ballistics is, other than testing for like gun residue and just looking at the bullet itself to see if it matches the bullet from the crime scene. So how a firearm works. Again, there's a lot more detail that I could go into about this. Just for the people who really don't know anything about a gun, I want to give them a little bit of basics. So the firing pin hits the base. Okay, so we have the number 1 right here. So the firing pin right here is attached to this, is going to be hitting the base of the cartridge, igniting the primer powder. So it is kind of like a little kind of mini explosion. The primer powder sparks through the flash hole to the main propellant supply. So it's like, it sounds more complicated, but right here, so you have your 1, your primer powder sparks through the flash hole to the main propellant supply. 3, the pressure of the explosion. So we have pressure building because of the explosion inside, pushes the bullet from the casing inside the barrel. So basically it's pressure that is pushing this through it. The bullet follows, lands in grooves to spiral out in the barrel. So lands in grooves right here, the land and the grooves. So basically the low part, high part, as it's spinning through the barrel. Those lands and grooves are part of what we have to focus on, because every gun is going to be slightly different, even if it's the same one, like same brand, same type of gun, is going to have a slightly different marking that it's going to leave on the bullet as it is being shot. So those kind of markings are what we can actually compare from the crime scene to our suspect. Jeez, sorry, I just got to work. I'm still yawning. So the modern firearms, so there are a lot of guns, okay? And I am not an expert by any means, but so we're just going to talk about basics for people who really just don't know, okay? So we have our difference. We have our two categories. We have handguns and long guns, okay? So kind of like it would sound, this is the long one. It's longer. It is the handgun. Hold in your hand. So a long gun includes rifles and shotguns, which requires 2 hands for accurate shooting. Rifles fire bullets, okay? Shotguns fire small round pellets called shots, or single projectiles called slugs. So just kind of, obviously, if I'm finding a bullet casing or I'm finding the slugs left over, like whatever I'm finding, I can kind of know what kind of gun was being shot from it. So here's your rifle. Here's a shotgun, just kind of seeing the difference between them. With a shotgun, you don't really have to aim it because it goes outward. Basically, those shots are full of lots of little things that separate and kind of can hit a target even when you don't directly aim it right at them. Whereas a rifle, aim the rifle carefully, squeeze the trigger, focus on the sights. You have a bullet. You have to hit that bullet at wherever you're trying to get it. Now for a handgun, handguns that can be fired with 1 hand are called a pistol. A pistol that holds several cartridges that can be fired one after another is called a revolver. So just difference in if it holds several cartridges or not. So semi-automatic versus a revolver, you actually have to load those each time. So a bullet is a projectile propelled from a firearm. That's what a bullet is. Bullets are made of metals such as copper, lead, brass, bronze, steel, or aluminum, the three basic compositions of bullets. So again, there's more types in this. So if you are really into this and you're like, wow, she's leaving out all this stuff, it's like, there are a lot of types. Okay, there's a lot of bullets. There's a lot of makes and models of everything. Just the basics is all we're going to focus on. So lead, cheap, dense, soft, easy to mold. Looks like that. Half jacketed, so you can kind of see it has this added jacket. A lead bullet coated with a copper halfway up the exposed portion of the bullet. The copper improves the exit velocity. Lead promotes like the mushrooming. So basically, it makes the exit cleaner. So if I just have a lead bullet, then it's going to go into the body at a much smaller hole and then get bigger as it goes out. The half jacketed improves that to just being more the same size. So copper improves exit velocity again if it's fully jacketed, used to hold the shape of the bullet in an effort to maximize penetration. So it's going to hit it harder, faster, but also it's not going to explode as much on the way out. This is where I wanted to end, I think. That's where I wanted to end. So today was just really short. A little bit about like, hey, if you don't know anything about guns, here's just a little bit about it. Tomorrow we'll move into like, what are the patterns? What do we really look for? If we're trying to match a bullet from a crime scene to a bullet from our suspects, like how do we match those things? What are things that can be matched? And then we'll move into gun residue, bullet holes, all that kind of stuff. So really the meat of this unit is going to be in tomorrow's notes.